It's vitally important that that the OSSTF receive support from the rest of the labour movement. And it's part of the reason why I'm here today, to say basically that there's 1 million workers in Ontario that are looking at the strike, not just here but in Durham region and also in Peel region, and seeing that school teachers, in particular OSSTF, are on the front lines when it comes to taking on the whole broader question of austerity. We believe that the Ontario government are in fact asking us to make false choices as and Ontarians, taking a look, for example, at cannibalising the public infrastructure or public transportation, and saying you have to make a choice between public transportation and proper good quality public education. And we're saying we shouldn't have to make those kinds of false choices. That's like a liberal game of Hunger Games, essentially, you know, pitting one vital service against the other. We need both. We need good public infrastructure, we need a good public transportation system, we need a hydro system, we need a good healthcare system, and of course we need good quality education in Ontario. And that's what we've had for many years. Secondly, I would take a look at what school teachers have fought for over the years. Remember, we had strikes back in the 1990s when Mike Harris was in as the Premier. The major issue of the day was prep time. And here we are today with this government attempting to claw back the gains that were made back in the 1990s. I know from speaking to folks on the other side of the picket line, the other side of the school, and likewise in Durham region and in Peel region, that the whole question of integrity and professionalism in the classroom, respect for the professional judgment of school teachers, is neglected in all of the school boards. So it seems to me that the School Boards Association clearly have an agenda. What's appearing on the bargaining table in Peel region, Durham region and in Rainbow are one and the same issues. So clearly this is not really local negotiations. The School Boards Association have orchestrated a strategy that they're forcing or trying to force down the necks of each of the individual OSSTF districts, and you've seen through it and you're not basically taking it. So we have a strike, as I say, that I believe you're on the front lines of taking on this whole question of austerity. I'll remind you again, of course, you know better than I do, that just a couple of years back the Liberals brought in Bill 115, where they rammed a collective agreement down your throat. It wasn't even collective bargaining. They brought in legislation, clawed back your sick leave, clawed back some of your, forced you to take unpaid leave, and at the same time forced zero increases across the board, which technically speaking is a cut in wages, because when you factor in inflation, you've taken a cut. So you've done more than your fair share when it comes to paying down this provincial deficit, and at the same time we're seeing where they won't touch corporate taxes, and corporate taxes in Ontario are one of the lowest corporate tax levels we've got anywhere in the country. Rachel Notley, the new Premier of Alberta, she got elected in the most right-wing of provinces, actually asking for saying that she would implement a corporate tax increase from 10% up to 12%. So in other words, if you can live with a corporate tax increase in Alberta, what's wrong with attempting to say to the folks in Ontario, you've got to pay your fair share as well? Mike Harris, by the way, could live with a 14% corporate tax rate. Why can't the Liberals push it back to where it was when they took office, back to 14%, so as we can invest some of that money in public education, and we can start paying down that deficit and ask everybody to pony up a little bit more, and not just keep coming to school teachers and other public sector workers and demanding that those workers pay down this deficit. That's grossly unfair, and I don't think that you should have to be the ones that have to continually give up these sacrifices, particularly when we know it's going to impact the quality of education in the classroom. We know that for a fact it's going to impact on the quality of education. So stay strong on these picket lines. You will get a collective agreement. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It may take a little bit of time, but eventually this government is going to see that you are determined to make sure that we protect the quality of education, that we protect the professionalism of school teachers in the classroom, and that we also protect what we fought for in terms of prep time. At some point, the school boards associations, the principals in these schools, and the Ontario government are going to realise that the folks that know best about what should go on inside of that classroom and how you should deal with school with the kids in the classroom are in fact the school teachers. That's why you get paid a decent wage. We get paid because we expect you to exercise your professional judgment, and these school boards associations have got to allow you to do what you do well. It has made the Ontario education system one of the finest systems anywhere in the world, and that's what we want to make sure that we maintain, and we don't give that up under any circumstances for any government at any time. So stay strong, my friends, on those picket lines, and let's make sure we get that collective agreement.